In this video, we're going to take a look at how to work with Sideline's roster manager, which beyond the AI captioning that Sideline provides, I think is the most powerful tool within Sideline Captions. If you've ever used code replacement files in Photo Mechanic, you know that they're incredibly powerful. They help speed up your workflow, and really a lot of their beauty is in their simplicity, because at the end of the day, it's just a text file. It's super simple. But let's be honest, they're kind of a pain to create. Manually copying and pasting player names and numbers and positions and that kind of stuff really isn't just that much fun. And if you cover a variety of teams, a variety of events, you might not be reusing that code replacements file again. You're probably just using it once and then ditching it if you don't cover that team again and again. So that's why we developed the roster manager within Sideline. So there are two ways to access it. You can click on your code replacements drop down here and choose edit matchups at the bottom, and that will open it. Or you can go up here to Sideline Captions menu and click on roster manager. And when it opens, there's a lot of information here, but it's kind of broken down into a few different sections. Up here you have your matchups, which is a code replacement file of two different teams. So for this one, I have, actually, maybe let me use this one because it's shorter. This is Nichols against the Kentucky Wildcats. It is basketball, so you can see I have the entire Nichols roster, and then I have the entire UK roster here. And if I want to export this matchup, I can choose to export it, and it will get exported as a text file with all of this information. So if I'm shooting with somebody and I want to share that code replacements file, you can do that very easily. Over here on the left, though, we have our main panel for managing teams and rosters. And you can see, I've kind of named it team. Maybe it should be named organization. Who knows? But like within University of Kentucky, which I cover a lot, you can see we have different rosters for different sports. Now, it could be different rosters for different sports, and that's the approach you want to take. It could also be that there's one team that you cover and you want to include different rosters for different years or different seasons or something like that. How you use it is really up to you. But the basics, you can create a new team. So I will say University of Georgia here, just for an example. And then you can note it creates that team, but we actually have to add a new roster. So let's say the 2025-2026 football team is a roster we want to create, and I'll just say GA for the prefix. And that will go ahead and create it, but it's completely empty. So we do have a couple ways to enter players into this roster. We can add them manually, which this is kind of like the old school way of just creating a text file. We can type in player names and numbers and their positions, his QB, and you can see it will build out a preview of what this would look like in a caption. University of Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton. This actually changes based on the style that you've selected. So AP and Imagine are pretty much the same, but Getty takes a little bit different format. So if I choose Getty as my caption style, they like to see Gunnar Stockton, number 14 of the University of Georgia. That's just how they like it, but I use AP for most things. So you can absolutely add people that way, but there are easier ways to do it, and I'll get to those in a later video. You can choose to import an entire roster, and there are a couple different examples here. So you can, if you already have a code replacement file and you just want to bring that into Sideline to put everything in one place, you can import a text file. If you get CSVs for some reason, you can do that as well. And then there will be additional videos on how to import from ESPN and from Max Preps if you shoot a lot of high school sports. And they are magical. You can import an entire roster in under 10 seconds. It's awesome. But that's beyond the scope of this video. I do want to mention one last thing here, and this is custom entities down here. Custom entities are really for anything that is not a player. So let's say I want to do one for their venue. So that's Sanford Stadium. And so I'm going to say SS and just type in Sanford Stadium. And it did not give a preview. It should, but that is Sanford Stadium, and we can use that as a custom entity when we're captioning in Photo Mechanic. If we need to enrich anything for any reason, you can type in SS, and it will, it will add that as an entity. Same sort of thing, like say UGA University, if I can spell, Georgia. if you need to add those custom entities. So that is the roster manager. You can import and export rosters. So just like I did for an entire matchup, I can choose to export this roster as a text file and share it with other photographers or teammates or whatever. And you can also import those as well. So that is the basics of the roster manager. It's a really powerful tool. I'd encourage you to watch the other videos on how to import entire matchups and entire rosters from ESPN and Max Preps, because that will save you a ton of time. But that's the basics of the roster manager.